They heard you. They just disagree with you that you should be able to racially discriminate against people on the job. All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe, and let's party! So, I don't know what's going on, guys. I don't know what's going on in the world, but I've been agreeing with Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks more often than I ever have before, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know if she's getting red-pilled, but she's starting to make a little bit more sense. She was talking a couple weeks ago about this controversy that came up within the Uber company, you know, like your rides, Uber, and they were talking about the word Karen and whether or not it is a slur. They had some sensitivity training or something, and then they had the word in there, and then people were going on the company Slack saying that they didn't like it, and people were trying to say, "Oh, it's not a slur, it's not a slur." And let's dive in and see what Anna has to say.
That they didn't like that some of their white colleagues saw Karen as a derogatory term, but as we all know, Karen absolutely is a derogatory term. Are we really gonna pretend like it's not?
Now, we don't have to pretend that it's as bad as the N-word or something like that, but it absolutely is a slur. Nobody wants to be called a Karen.
Employees felt the event organizers were minimizing racism and the harm white people can inflict on people of color by focusing on how Karen is a hurtful word, according to messages and an employee who attended the events.
So any focus on diversity, equity, inclusion that doesn't focus on anyone else besides people of color or trans people, or if you try to stand up for a white person,
how dare you?
That is a mortal sin.
Well, it's a derogatory term. That's why it's used in a derogatory sense after someone is perceived to have engaged in bad behavior. Now, the controversy didn't die down. Weeks later, the Karen conundrum was aired in a company-wide meeting. Several weeks after the first event, a Black woman asked during an Uber all-hands meeting how the company would prevent tone-deaf, offensive, and triggering conversations from becoming a part of its diversity initiatives.
What does that even mean? I don't understand what that is, like, how the company is going to prevent tone-deaf, offensive, and triggering conversations. What are you talking about? Like, what does that mean?
Lee replied, arguing that while the discussions can sometimes feel uncomfortable, they were important and necessary to have.
Not everything that you're going to hear is going to be something that you like. That's why we have freedom of speech, not freedom of the speech I like.
Sometimes being pushed out of your own strategic ignorance is the right thing to do. That's what she said. Now, as you can imagine, that comment did not really do much to calm the situation down and instead sparked additional outrage and complaints to executives.
Surprise, surprise, the woke mob didn't get what they wanted and they had a temper tantrum about it? No.
So Lee decided to hold a second event, which was intended to be a dialogue where employees could express how they felt about what they heard during the first event. But that led to even more complaints. In Slack, groups for Black and Hispanic employees at Uber fumed that instead of a chance to provide feedback or have a dialogue, they were instead being lectured about their response to the initial "Don't Call Me Karen" event.
Kind of seems like all the systemic racism stuff that's been forced down everybody's throat. Kind of the inverse here, right? Not fun, is it? Right? Right? If you agree it's the same thing, you will definitely find a home at the Indian Jesus Discord server where the party never ends. That's right, 24/7, we're in there hanging out. And after every single live stream, we go in for a panel discussion where you're not stuck behind your keyboard, but you are on screen with me and everybody else. Cammed up if you want, you don't have to. Either way, it is a good time. Come and join us.
One person wrote, "I felt like I was being scolded for the entirety of that meeting." Another employee took issue with the premise that the term Karen shouldn't be used.
But, tell them that you are not a trans woman or that you dead name them or you misgender them and It's the end of the world. But a straight white person wants something, and that's blasphemy. A white, straight person? They don't even have to be straight. You could be a gay Karen. So it's just white women. And obviously white men are, I mean, that goes without saying. That goes without saying. Obviously the white men are not in here at all. But to be a white woman, maybe not as easy as they make it out to be.
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. In the workplace, you shouldn't be calling your coworkers Karens. It's just not a good idea. And by the way, just let that sink in for a moment. Employees were openly angry that they couldn't use a derogatory word against some of their colleagues.
So I understand the idea of, and you can't take the free argument, you can't take the free speech argument with this, because y'all are the ones who are about censoring everything. So if you want to be able to censor other people, and I think that a certain level of censorship is good. You shouldn't be able to be, be using slurs in the workplace. But why are they fighting so hard just to use a derogatory slur against white people? I don't know, but Anna's making a point.
This type of work environment is just fantastic. I mean, it's not hostile at all. Now, in response to the apparent uproar, Uber's chief executive and chief people officer sent employees an internal email and asked Bo Young Lee to step back and take a leave of absence while they determine next steps.
Next steps. We need next steps, because this woman is trying to say, hey, let's not use a derogatory racial slur at work. What is happening? What is happening? How is this where we are? How is this America? How is this 2023? What is going on? And again, I think Karen is about as bad in terms of how offensive it is or should be as being called like a cracker. That doesn't mean that just because it's not as hurtful as other words, that it's not the intent to hurt somebody. The intent is there, and they are fighting for it. They are fighting to be racist. But yeah, oh no, the people who don't believe that a man can transform into a female, where are the bad ones, right?
The email also let employees know that, quote, we have heard that many of you are in pain and upset by yesterday's moving forward session. While it was meant to be a dialogue, it's obvious that those who attended did not feel heard.
Well, you can not feel heard. All that means is that they didn't tell you what you wanted to hear. If they told you, we agree with you, you would not say you feel unheard. They heard you. They just disagree with you that you should be able to racially discriminate against people on the job. Crazy, right? I mean, and it goes on, but you guys could check out the Young Turks. That's pretty much the story. And if Anna is going to say something legit, I will definitely give her credit for that. Doesn't mean that I like the Young Turks, but that's the state of things. When the Young Turks are on the forefront of the left-wing people saying, hey, this is probably reasonable to not want to call people Karens at work, and they're the ones that are getting the backlash along with Uber. That is crazy to me. I don't know how we got here, but like I keep telling you guys, we have to get back. We have to, whether it's get back or move forward, we need to get out of this place. And talking about stuff like this is how we're going to do it. We have to, this stuff like this is going on. Stuff like this is going on, but most people don't. So share this with somebody, and let's fix our country. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense, and a special treat for you for making it to the end of the video. You can get a shout out in the very next video for putting the secret word in the comments. The secret word for this one is going to be Anna. Shout out to Anna Kasparian. Put Anna in the comments, and you can get a shout out in the very next video. Until then, guys, we are out of here. Peace.